at usbcrepair.com. We got the ux482egr ASUS. Here for the two USB Type-C connector replacements, this guy and that guy. The situation is that I already replaced those two connectors, but something is iffy. My understanding that maybe some solder got shorted somewhere on the inside of the connectors, on one of the connectors, and it doesn't let it work 100% the way I want it to work. So this video is about how to take the whole thing apart. Obviously you got the 1, 2, 3, 4 screws here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Those are the longer screws, those are the shorter screws. All right, keep them separate. They are Torx 5, I believe. So yeah, disconnecting this guy is easy if you gonna move that metal bracket this way. You're gonna lift up it from both sides, from this side and from that side, once the bracket is all the way out of there. You got screw here, screw there, screw there, screw there, here and here. What you wanna do is you probably wanna disconnect the, once I find my tool. Already found the tool. Now, the reason I make this video is that I'm probably gonna refund the money back to the client because I'm not 100% sure if it was the jack issue to begin in the first place. Usually the jacks come in pretty bad, banged up, but those guys were somewhat okay, all right? And the charging situation was iffy. I didn't really test it on arrival so much, and I regret that now. So I will try and replace the both connectors one more time, knowing that I did everything I could. And if it's not, again, the connector issue, I will try to diagnose something around here. Maybe one of the capacitors is blown, but we will see. So here, we disconnect this guy here. That's the speakers. You take them off like that. You got two rubber pieces here and another rubber piece here. Okay. And this comes out like that. All right. All right. Like that, like that. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is right here. I know what, we don't need to disconnect that. All right, because that's not part of the main motherboard. What we want to do is we want to disconnect the SSD so it wouldn't overheat when you solder anything. So that's like that. We do need to disconnect the heatsink because it's gonna it will draw all the heat off the motherboard while we're gonna be trying to warm up the motherboard. So for USB Type-C repairs, we always have to disconnect the heatsink. Now you will see a lot of new paste here that I just put. And people ask all the time, do we put new paste? Yes, we got tons of paste here. Like, paste is so cheap that this question I don't even advertise it on any of the websites that we do put new thermal paste. It comes in syringes like that. I have maybe like hundreds of those stacked up. So not hundreds, I mean they do expire sometimes, so I have to reorder it like once a year, but the paste is paste. I mean, there's a ton of it here. All right, so we got NVIDIA chip. You guys, if you're buying a new laptop, make sure it has an NVIDIA chip because I got some I got a few shares of NVIDIA basically. Not a lot, but they're pretty expensive nowadays. But NVIDIA and Intel, I don't have any AMD investments because I think it's a bit overvalued, but to each his own. Anyways, so let's see. Let's find a driver compatible for the screws. Let's see, is that not All right, so found the screwdriver that's supposed to be. No, it's not the right one. No, it is the right one. Just I tighten it up really well. All right. It's like you come to a doctor, he prescribes every single product there is for you to take, every single pill for you to take that he has investments in. So here I am prescribing to you to buy the anything with NVIDIA chip in it. Ready? I got okay, so here we got a few cables. Let's unscrew a few more screws. All right. Here we got 4 screws here, 3. All right. Oh, we had 2 more screws right there. Here I don't want to pull on that because it's gonna break off the connection. So you always wanna kind of get it out with something, pry it out. Don't pull on the cable because those cables are so fragile. I see clients pulling on them all the time, and I have to solder the cable directly into the motherboard sometimes. So most of the laptops I get are after somebody tried to fix them, which is no big deal. You know, that's my business, I guess, fixing stuff that other people didn't fix, and that's the reason I'm in business. So here, like that, like that, like that. And again, the reason I'm making this video because I'm not sure why. I mean, I did such a beautiful work, and maybe somebody else gonna run into exactly the same problem, and maybe you're gonna be able to figure it out, and maybe you're gonna leave a comment on what was the real issue here. And that's, I got 1,000+ videos on how to replace connectors for different laptop makes and models, and sometimes clients do leave a really useful information there that solves the problem for the future. Because again, this system, it's not that common. This is one of the first time I see this system here. Usually takes like a year or so to resolve this certain problem. So if you are going to be able to find a schematics for this board or something, and you run into exactly the same problem, doesn't matter where you're at, like what part of the world. Again, sometimes people do leave the useful information. All right, so here we're gonna take that. All right, you know what? Hold on 1 second. Let me see if this is what's shorting here. Wonderful, yeah. Okay, so all of this surface is conductive. All right, so that's one of the problems. So let's set all of that stuff aside. Wonderful, conductive surface. And that's the reason why you have this little insulation here. And in order for the insulation not to get messed up, I usually cut it like that, and then I tape it back to the tape it back to the motherboard. So that's the cutout I did before. I'm gonna set it aside. So now we got an access to both connectors, and hold on 1 second. You know what, let me inspect it under the microscope and see how things are. All right, let's see. Okay, so this is just some flux residue. It's not flux. What happened was those guys are glued in place. And when the system was being worked on with my hot air, that glue became this kind of color. Let's remove this here. Everything is in place. This guy in place. Everything is in place. Oh, strange. It seems to me I did the ideal job, but let's see the other side. All right. Ooh, okay, I see. Hold on 1 second. No, I was thinking this guy, but I'm pretty sure it's fine. Let's take a look at it under the angle. No, it's slightly moved because of the hot air, but I'm pretty sure it's not damaged in any way. It's just some flux residue on top. All right. Okay, this was all also in glue, and that's why it got all the cleanup. You know what? I will clean it up much better in case it's because of the cleanup. I mean, because of the hair, maybe. I'm not sure where those hair came from the Q-tips. Okay, so all right. All right, so before we're gonna replace these connectors, I just wanna run the whole thing under the infrared camera and see if maybe something comes up on the infrared. Maybe a capacitor or something comes up. Because the soldering, you see, it's beautiful. It's beautiful right there. I mean, the reason I paid thousands of dollars for the microscope like that, the one that can show you different angles, is that it's... I'm just hoping maybe it's the hair that... Not the hair, but the Q-tip cotton. Okay, maybe here. I don't see... All right, maybe right there is a silicon capacitor. You know, the silicon capacitors, they do go bad all the time, and you can never troubleshoot them properly. Okay. And they're not even gonna show up that they are bad if you test them. I'm talking about those silicon capacitors. Oh, they use this chip. Okay, I see. All right. All right. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. Okay, it's the same chip that I see every single day. I just don't expect ASUS gonna put them. This is called the Texas Instrument chip, power management chip. What it does, it boosts the voltage from 5 to 20. In my opinion, it does work because under load we do get 565994. Yeah, this is a really common chip to fail in terms of it got a whole bunch of... It's a BGA chip. It has a whole bunch of balls underneath it, and that's a number one reason I see a lot of laptops here for the power connector repair, and it fails because those silicon capacitors fail. Okay, so I'm not sure about those two chips, what they do. All right, this guy. But I mean, this is the number one failure on the motherboards usually on Lenovo products. This is an ASUS product. I didn't expect they're gonna use exactly the same chip. Maybe now the company is united, or maybe they're producing in the same factory the motherboards. Go figure. All right. So, all right. So you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna see if this chip gonna load up on the under the infrared camera. All right. So what it was showing me is this guy here flaring up. It could be this guy too. I will need to see what this particular component does. Is that an H or it's not H? Yeah, it's H. So LS equals 8D H3E, right? Looks like an H3E. Okay, so that's one. And the second one is here. This guy. TI 5125VG-128 2142-CXO, maybe 0. S1873C. VGA chip, the one is right here. That's just what I'm doing. I'm taking pictures while covering the All right, so what I can do is I could probably reflow this guy if needed, okay? And there is no need to reflow this chip. It seems all right. The connections, I mean, I could put some solder on each side, but it seems like the solder connections are perfect there. There is no need to do much here. You know, hold on 1 second. What's that? Is that just a scratch or what that is? Here. Maybe it's a scratch from the probes I was doing. You know what? Worst case, I could remove this chip, this capacitor, and see if the same problem, if it still heats up. This guy heats up. Is it same as? No. All right. So let's do the chip removals one more time. Solder brand new chips again. This is new chips, but we're gonna solder again brand new chips and see if we can make this guy work. So first I need to insulate the board around the connectors. I don't want to melt this component here because it's easily meltable. As you can see, even though it was insulated, we got some melting here, and I don't want those chips to fly off the motherboard. All right, so I insulated both connectors. I will add some flux here. I'll add some flux right there. And I will replace both of those guys. Right, so what I want to do is I want to inspect the area and see if anything was shorted. And nothing was shorted in my opinion. The area looks good. The area looks good on... Oh. It looks perfect, so nothing here was shorted for sure. Let's see if anything was shorted on the connector side. No, all the pins the way they're supposed to be. Perfect. Now, so yeah, I think it seems like I did do a good job. So it's probably something to do with the chips, but let me put the new connectors here. Here, let's shut down the hot air. All right, let's add some flux. Suck all of the solder from the points. So yeah, probably has something to do with the chips. So let's... Is the soldering iron on? Strange, doesn't wanna penetrate much into anything. This system isn't the easiest system to work on because the components are really close by and you have to be extremely careful. I was hoping one of those pins was touching the other pin someplace and shorting things out and causing issues, but it's not the not what I was hoping for. So we're gonna replace the connectors on it one more time and pray that it was the connectors to begin with. But all right, so here, like that, like that. All right. You know, I haven't tried a different power supply. Maybe it was a power supply issue to begin with. Should have done that before I went in the second time around. Because ASUS doesn't usually give me as much problems as, for example, Lenovo laptops. But maybe they're about to start. All right. Right, good job. All right, so I need all the holes to be nice and empty. All right, good job. You would say, bro, they're not really that empty. I know. We'll get it done in a second. Hold on. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I wanna use up as much flux as I can. Have you seen how much the flux went in price? I mean, seriously. Whoever says there is no inflation or deflationary pressures, definitely not in this business. All right, so flux used to cost nothing. All right, so let's see. Let's put this guy here, like that. Let's fire up the hot air. Hmm. All right, so here is where $1,000 soldering iron comes in. All right, so you see those tiny holes right there, which are not really reachable by the couple $100 iron. So we need to use $1,000 iron to get into it. But the $1,000 iron has a fine tip on it, which cannot really transfer as much heat as a big iron can. But it can go into places like this one. Come on. Nope. All right, good job. The worst part is you need to film, solder, desolder, talk about it at the same time, so that makes it a bit more complicated. It's almost good, it's just this particular one right there, it doesn't want to come out. Right, so I want to inspect each one. Oh, it was just flux, okay. Never mind, so this one is good. Good. And good, okay, so here, flux, how about this guy? So we got this guy, that guy. And we have a few spots where it doesn't wanna melt properly. Okay, so the solution is more flux. Obviously more flux. All right, so another thing I can do. All right, good job. Excellent. It's just hard to figure out sometimes if it's flux, if there is some solder left in it. Oh yeah, right here. All right, so just gonna take a much bigger iron. And we're gonna go on top of this. All right. Yeah, excellent. Good job here. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing damaged on the motherboard. Everything should be. Usually you have to spend hours trying to fix something here, but it all looks good. Everything looks good. I'm not confident at all that it's anything to do with the connectors. They do look good. But this time I'm gonna solder it slightly different. I'm gonna remove that rear bracket, this bracket, even though this time I soldered it without removing the bracket. I will now remove the bracket and try to solder it without the bracket in, like this rear bracket. I'm not gonna use hot air for soldering because I'm thinking maybe if I'm blowing the hot air in the back here, some solder. So for example, when I blow the hot air this way, solder from this guy might short with this guy. So that's one of the things that I'm concerned about. So yeah, let me just use the iron to solder it. I'm gonna go find the same connections. Oh, that was the original one. So this is the original on the right. This is the one that we installed. So maybe because it's slightly longer, but the layout is the same. Yeah, the layout, as you can see, is the same, right? Or not? Let's just double check. Looks identical to me. I mean, one is slightly longer, another one is slightly shorter, but other than that, it's all the same thing. There's literally a couple hundreds of different connectors when it comes to USB-C. I got like thousands of the regular connectors. Just want to make sure it's the same connector. Yeah? Yeah, looks like the same connector. Okay. And it's hard to figure out which one is which, so here. All right, so I'm gonna remove the rear bracket. All right, so I removed the rear bracket. Let's install it and see if it's gonna sit. Oh, hold on, different. Let's see if it's gonna sit inside just fine. The pins align. Pins align. Yeah, looks good to me. I mean, all right, let's do it again. Let's do it one more time. All right, so is there enough flux there or not? Let's just add some. Let's just add some solder. All right, so this iron is not made to melt down so much. All right, so we're just gonna press it down here. All right. Come on. This $1,000 iron is made for different purpose. Yeah, let's switch to a different iron. Yeah, you see why I try to do everything with the proper iron, because we get everything's so mid-skill. Alrighty. Good job. Okay. Alright. Let's do the same thing here. Alright, and here. Again, I need to add some flux in order for everything to smooth out. Let's try to get another connector here. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, if you wanna do the repair yourself, I'm gonna sell you those connectors too. Could be found on the link below. Alright, so another connector goes in right here. Ah, come on. Again, it's much easier to do it when you're not filming, because you have to be always under the certain position here. This one I'm gonna do with the flux for sure. I'm just gonna add some flux and do the small iron. That way it's gonna be nicely, perfectly straightened in there. Okay, so wanna push it towards the back a little bit like that. Let's try. Okay. No, still need to have a bigger iron, because that bracket, the outside, dissipates the heat pretty well. You see how it sucks on top. All right, like that, like that. Okay, good job. Let it cool down a little bit. Now let's do this side. Right. Okay. Yeah, so you see it just does a messy job, but oh well. All right. So the good thing is all the pins are seeing through, so none of them are bent in any way. So we're gonna just use the bigger iron to solder the big gaps, the big points on the motherboard. All right. But I need to put something underneath the connector so that it would stay in place. All right. Yeah, again, so this is just a video on how to replace a connector. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna make the system work flawlessly here because something else got messed up while the person was wiggling the connector. Because as you can see, I replaced the connector once, it's both of them, and I had a problem, right? So it's probably something with the board that's not. And the diagnostic is something I have no time for because I got a whole bunch of stuff waiting to be worked on. So the total business was just connector replacement. Just, you know, a laptop comes in, you replace the connector, and that's it. No diagnostic, no nothing. Most of the computer shops just send it our way. Computer shops, big electronic stores, school districts. I had the one major brand calling me and saying, listen, we got 3,000 of those for the warranty work. 3,000 of those to repair. How long will it take? I'm like, it's gonna take forever. I just don't have human capacity to work for the major manufacturer of those laptops. And they just sitting there at the company. So because there's not that many people in the United States who do this kind of work. Besides me, I don't really know anybody. So so they're like, what do we do? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, you could send me like 100, maybe I will get through them eventually. But because you should understand that besides the USB Type-C, I do a whole bunch of other connectors here, which are regular connectors, which are taking much less time to work through, and they pretty much always work. But when it comes to USB Type-C, you can replace the connector and it's not gonna work. And the policy here is basically, if you can make it work, you don't pay anything. So, but that's what doesn't work in this particular, I mean, in this particular business environment. So I'm trying to explain to all of my clients, listen guys, if you already killed the connector, like beyond, way beyond the repair, just don't send it this way because it's gonna be tough for me to fix it because it could be a connector issue, could be not a connector issue only. No, I needed to put more flux here. All right, let's put more flux. All right, it seems okay, but just in case. I usually never replace a connector twice. It's just because this is a relatively rare system and some people would be appreciative of how to do it because people are watching worldwide, and I mean people have the system worldwide. All right, so this is looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good. Same thing here, looks good. All right, now what we got is the reason I removed the rear bracket so that I would be able to solder everything right there. You know what, let me remove this reflection here. Kind of tough proposition to that's the reason I was telling you it's tough. Starts starts to short everything right away. Probably need to add more light. All right, so here, we got it here. Let's see if we can get the same thing here. Where are you at here? Right there. Okay. Let's add some flux. It was just here. It's the flux. Much. The worst part of this business is to go through all this tedious work and not to get paid. To go through this tedious work twice and not get paid. That's the reason there is no competition, because nobody wants to work for free. And I usually work not for the money, but for experience. It's my passion, so to speak. Okay. Now let's go with the, let's test each one and see if it's gonna move or not. I'm not sure about that one, but looks good to me. All right, so let's wash it off. All right. I mean, as you can see, beautiful job. I mean, how else would one do something like that? There's no better way to get this thing done, right? You see, beautiful. Beautiful here, beautiful there. All right, so I cleaned up all of those extra hair that was here before. And we can clean up the bottom as well. Okay. No, it can't be any more beautiful, all right? All right. About this blower, it just dries everything out really fast, like few seconds and you're done. All right, so do I want to see do I want to see if anything changed? All right. You know what? I need to bring another power supply to test it with, because maybe the problem is the power supply. Maybe, just maybe. Maybe not. Again, so we had a flare up right here, and we had the flare going up right there. Nothing changed. Then everything is, well, I think we got the reflection from the light. Let's shut down the light. All right, light shut down. There's dirt on me. All right, so plug it in. Oh, yeah, so nice and tight. All right, so the light still flickers. The light still flickers. It doesn't provide amperage going through. Piece right here is flaring up. Right there. Let me see with my finger. Oh, CPU flares up. Right, so it was trying to power itself up. Right here, someplace, someplace here. So, in my understanding, it's the same exact problem. You know, let's try it without it. Yeah, still the same. You see the flickering? the part right here. Oh wait, that. Okay, so that's that right there. So yeah, initially I did do a good job on the jacks. Let's try this guy here. I was hoping maybe it's this guy's fault, but no, that's fine. So let's try this. And it goes out. It doesn't do much flickering. And here we got something. Yeah, so this piece here flaring up, and the current doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. So let's try this way. So yeah, the system basically arrived again not the right way. Okay. All right, so if anybody gonna know the solution for it, please explain, because right there it's flickering, the current going this way. Right here, is there something flaring up? Yeah, it's that chip again, and that chip right there. Let's do like that. Oh, okay. So this guy flares up right here. Right here. Do we get any? The current flows the wrong way. So in a way it works because the light is right there, but in a different way it doesn't work because it just doesn't. So what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna lift up this guy off camera, see if we're gonna get exactly the same problem. I will try to maybe reflow this guy here, and I will try to reflow that guy. You'll see, yeah. But that's gonna be done off camera because that's a lot of this and that. Yeah, I just want to see which one here was the one that's flaring up. Oh, and I need to try another power supply before I'm gonna do anything else. So this component right there. Okay. Let me mark it. This guy. So yeah, I did a good job on the jacks twice, and the problem is 1, 2, might be 3. All right, take a look at this. See right there? Those are the two capacitors I was talking about, and that component that goes bad on Lenovo laptops. That's the CPU. Wait, the light is solid now. Oh no, it does flicker. It does flicker, but nothing goes in. It should get something in, but it doesn't wanna work. Yeah, it flows that way. It doesn't do much. It does the 20-volt handshake. No luck. No luck. So this component right here, it wasn't the capacitor. I removed the capacitor. It's this guy that heats up. This guy heats up. This is usually the problem, so I will try to work on that later on. And this guy. So yeah, I will leave a comment below letting you know was it fixed or not, in the description of the first comment. But yeah, the light comes up, but you see how it flickers. I'm not sure if the camera shows the flickering, but it does flicker. I can see it with my eyes. It should be like solid. So I will put the capacitor back on. I will reflow this guy, reflow that guy, and reflow this guy. This one usually goes bad. It doesn't get reflown. It usually goes bad, but I don't have a programmer for it, and it's just time-consuming process. All right, so I did reflow that chip. I put the capacitor back on. I reflown that chip, that BGA chip, and I reflow that chip. And let's see if any of that made any difference. Let's connect it here. It doesn't flicker as much. It doesn't flicker at all. That's really strange, but there is no amperage going to the motherboard. Strange. But the light doesn't flicker at all. So that's... Again, the light doesn't flicker at all. It just becomes solid orange. Yeah, there is no flickering. Let's see. How about here? We get a buzzing sound. We do get the buzzing sound, but the light doesn't flicker. Let's see. I guess I need a stethoscope. All right, so the buzzing sound seems to be coming from this guy here. From right there. So that ITE chip is probably what's not letting us work properly. But on the other plug, we get a solid orange light. So one is buzzing, probably from this. Another one is not buzzing. Right, so let's hope maybe one of those connectors is gonna be working. We need to put the cover back on. Okay, here's the cover. All right. Again, is it all replaceable? Yeah, it's all replaceable. It's just this place here, we pretty much only do connectors because that's not so much where the money is. That's nobody is willing to pay for this kind of repairs because it takes forever to troubleshoot and resolve, and sometimes it's just easier to buy a new laptop. So there is no point for me to quote how much anything gonna run here at. But my guess is that chip needs to be replaced. The one that's right there. Maybe not. And the situation is so iffy is that the client would usually call us and say, you know what? When I was sending it to you, the orange light was there, all right? And if you messed up this chip or something, right here, underneath here, the client would complain that, you know what, I got my laptop back and nothing works anymore. So it's all politics. So it's always about politics. So instead of having to deal with the client's complaints, it's easier for me just to say it's not fixable here, because people don't understand when people trying to go above and beyond and try to for this amount of money, you know, spending 2 days on these laptops, on this laptop alone, and not getting paid to begin with. All right, let's see. Yeah, all right, it's all good. So yeah, every time I try to go above and beyond, it backfires at me because the clients think that client thinks it's not in my best interest to fix the laptop and keep the money. So that's what clients think of the service. All right, so here. I remember I got one negative review because the laptop came back without the 3 screws on the back cover. And the reason it came in without the 3 screws on the back cover because where the cover goes into here, for example, the screw for the cover was going in here. The head of the screw here was broken off, so I couldn't put a screw into the empty hole. That does happen sometimes, but again, getting a negative review just because 3 screws are missing, that's something, you know, that was my dream job, to read about 3 screws are missing, and refunded the money, by the way. And the laptop was working, the screws were missing, the money got refunded, and I got a negative review. That was amazing. Amazing. I mean, it just shows how people are sometimes. So, and it wasn't just one negative review, it was like 2 negative reviews. He left a negative review about 3 screws everywhere. So that's the reason I prefer not to go above and beyond anymore with client satisfaction, because even if you bend over backwards, the client will never be happy. So sometimes it's better to leave it as is, give the money back, and try not to go look for the solution. I mean, I understand that one of my viewers gonna find what exactly making the buzzing sound. There's like slight high pitch buzzing sound when I plug it in one of the connectors here. And that high pitch, I'm not sure what exactly, where exactly it's coming from. So yeah. But the light doesn't flicker, so maybe reflowing one of the chips helped the light not to flicker. But again, there should be amperage coming through to the board, but it's not coming through. The voltage shakes, so this is responsible for the voltage shake. If it does the handshake from 5 to 20, those guys output 20, and they do put 20 through just fine. So this guy is supposed to be working. What this chip does beyond me, and the chip on the other side goes bad all the time on Lenovo laptops, but it's in a different form factor. And some of those are already available for sale, already coming in programmed for the specific board. So again, depends when you're watching this video. We might or might not have a solution for this particular high pitch sound. All right, so like that. And it's really important to have the insulation on the back of this motherboard, because the whole casing is conductive. All right, so here, let's see. So the longer screws go right here. Okay, magnetize this guy. Right. I think I just dropped the screw someplace. Okay, here it is. Yeah. And some people would say, why don't you just call the client and say it's going to be more expensive? I don't like bait and switch. I advertise certain prices, and that's the price you pay, regardless whatever the problem is. All right. If I can fix it, I fix it. If I don't fix it, I don't fix it. I hate when, you know, you go to mechanic and somebody tells you, oh, you know what, you have gazillion more problems. I remember I got my car out of the warranty for 3 days So I went to the dealership before the warranty expired, and I told them, you know, can you check everything to make sure everything's fine because it's still under warranty? And they said, they inspected, everything was fine, and I was happy. And then like 5 days later, I got some sort of tiny issue with the car. Something went under, like a battery or something like that. So I came into the dealership to replace the battery, and they gave me a bill for $7,500 saying, you know what, you have so much issue there, and it's out of warranty. I'm like, I was just here 2 days ago, and now I get a bill for 7,500. So the car drove 100,000 miles after that service. Obviously, I didn't pay 7,500 for the car. That didn't cost that much. But since that day, the car drove more than 100,000 miles without fixing everything that they told me that it needs to be fixed for maintenance purposes. So, yeah. I know it's all about business. You come to the doctor, he tells you you need this pill, that pill, and this pill. It's business because we all invest in Pfizer and other companies. So even if you don't need to take that pill, everybody is investor. So that's the reason I just try to run as honest business as possible. Prices are quoted, you know, people expect to pay that particular price. There is no point in calling this client and saying, you know what, it's gonna take me another day and it's gonna cost more. It's the amount of, you know, some people try to call me and they ask for the same thing that what says on the website. And it's honestly, even if I don't pick up the phone, I'm gonna be all right, because most of the people who call usually don't know how to read. And the website is pretty specific. It says, please just text or email if you have any questions, because there's a video I might be recording and somebody would be calling through at this time. But yeah, so every time somebody calls, I know that client is probably just not exactly the client who I want to deal with. So because in the amount of time I'm gonna spend talking to the client on the phone about whatever his problem is, and it's really hard to figure out what the problem is over the phone. But because he got somebody on the phone, he's happy, and everybody is eager to chat because there is a lack of such social interaction nowadays because of the people stuck at home, and everybody wants to talk. Everybody wants a friend. All right, here, like that. Like that. And all right. At least you know how to take this laptop apart, all right? At least I showed you that. So it's at least something, you know. Here. At least something positive came out of this repair. Okay. All right. All right. And I bet you, even with this laptop, I go above and beyond working on the jack replacement twice, and the client gonna call me and complain saying that, you know what, you will stop my laptop. It just happens all the time, and that's pretty much the biggest drawback of this business, is just clients from which you're not making any money complain the most. So leave negative reviews. I mean, you go to the doctor, you get a heart surgery, right? And you die on the table. You still get charged for the heart surgery, right? I mean, there is no way around it. Plus, hospital makes money on you know, transporting you to the basement and keeping you there for a few days. So it's all business, right? But people don't understand that. People think that they can just call and say, complain that there is magic that could be happening to the laptop. All right, so here. This goes here. All right, there is a reach right here for the cable. All right, you want to put this guy there like that, like that, like that, okay? And then there is a reach here. All right, let's see what else we got. Ooh, ready. Three screws, I will remember it for the rest of my life. 3 screws are missing from the top cover because you can't screw anything into there because the nuts are broken. And a negative review, 2 negative reviews. And the laptop was working fine and it was a free repair and I still got 2 negative reviews. Oh my. Sometimes people are so, I would say the word, but it's YouTube. Don't want to say the word. Picky is picky is the kind of word I was looking for. All right, so anyways. So the laptop gonna power up and work, but it's not working the way it's supposed to work because something isn't, well, maybe it's gonna power up, I don't know yet, but I'm sure it's gonna power up because the red light right there is solid now. It doesn't blink like it was blinking prior to that. I'm not sure again about the refresh rate on the cameras. Maybe you saw the blinking of the light, maybe you didn't, but it wasn't solidly. Okay. You know what? I'm afraid to go above and beyond here because the cable might get damaged. So I'm gonna just put it right like that. Those rubber pieces here and a rubber piece right there. And this speaker gonna be right here. Okay. Like that, and like that. Good job. Now and we lock it in place like that. So everything is connected here. Here is everything connected. So yeah, let me just put the cover back on because I'm not gonna replace connectors one more time because I knew I did a great excellent job on the initial connector replacement, and but I was just like having second thoughts, maybe because again I'm doing the connector replacements all day every day. Troubleshooting beyond that, there are some systems that I am familiar with what else goes bad and I can usually take care of it. But this system is so rare, I think this is the first or maybe second time I see it. And the funny thing, it gives 20 volts right away. Usually it's like 5 volts to 20 volts handshake, but this one is always giving 20 volts. That's a good thing. That's not what, well, so long screws go in right here. And right there. Good job. Okay. And I'll probably get a complaint saying that one of those rubber pieces is missing that covers the screw hole. Happens, no, never happened about the rubber piece covering the screw hole, but sometimes you never know. You never know. All right. All right. All right, let's see. Let's see what's the all right, which adapter it is. Is this the client's adapter or this is not client's adapter? Client adapter, this is my adapter. I believe I trust my adapter much more than the client's adapter. So we're gonna plug it in right here. We're gonna plug it in. I hear a buzzing sound. The voltage flowing this way. I can see the arrow right there, meaning voltage going this way. It gives 20 volts, just 1 amp. 1 amp is not, well, now it's half an amp, 1 amp. Well, 20 watts right now running into the laptop. The light here is not flickering, but I can hear the high pitch sound. High pitch sound is coming out. All right, so let's power it up. We got the in search of Incredible, so we're still searching for Incredible. ZenBook, oh, it's called ZenBook. Let me, where is the make and model of this laptop? I need to upload the video, but I didn't. So this is the bag of connectors compatible with this with this particular laptop. So by the time I find it, again, of any place in the world, I have more connectors. So you see right there, it doesn't show that it's charging. Oh no, it does show it's charging. Hold on, no, it doesn't. Does charge. All right. So we do have a situation here. Let me show you right there. Here. So this is the problem. You see? Discharging. Charging. Discharging. Charging. Charging. And it does it by itself. I don't touch anything. So it does it by itself. Let's see, maybe if we flip this guy over. Does the same thing. I mean, it charges, discharges. Even though it went up to 2 amps right there. Charges, discharges. All right. So let's switch to this position here. Oh, wow. We got 2.12 amps. 2.2. Okay, so we get 45 watts running into the laptop. That's a breakthrough. Because when I... Well, right now it charges steadily. All right, so here. Can you adjust like that? So you see it charges steadily. And here we got the 2.105 amps. All right, so my understanding is one of the BGA chips that I reflow client calling. All right, so you see the reason. You see the reason. All right, so a few sometime later, pretty much, we are getting a steady charging. All right. Okay, and that's a good thing. All right. All right. I will let it charge all the way up and see if it's gonna work off of the second port. Here, wrong camera. And see if it's gonna work off of the second port. But the thing is, so yeah, the thing is, can I fix this laptop? Yes, I can, in terms of connections. But for all the other for all the other issues. But I'm happy that, you know what, something got reflown and the 2 amps are running in. Let me see if it's gonna run in when we're gonna flip it over. Yeah, so regardless which way we're gonna flip it, it's still giving the 20 volts. So let's see if the same thing gonna happen on the client's power supply. Ah, right. No. I disconnected the charger from the outlet. So here. Well, it was running at 2 amps with my other power supply. Really, really, really strange. Ooh. You know what? It seems like it was a power supply issue to begin with. Because right now it switches from charging to not charging. Huh. All right, so it seems like I wasted a lot of time because the charger. So right now we have half an amp right there. Well, let's flip it over, right? Let's flip this guy over. Yeah, I don't see 2 amps going in. Let's try my power supply. Right away we get 2 amps. Yeah, we got 2 amps on my power supply. All right, so my mistake was using client's power supply. So here we get 2 amps right there running into the laptop, meaning everything is nice and peachy. So it runs at 40 watts and charges the battery just fine, and there is no interruptions, and the light doesn't flicker. Yeah, light doesn't flicker. So let's see, is this the original power supply or it's not the original power supply? It says ASUS that can run at 3 amps at 20 volts, so 65 watt adapter. In this profile, 65 watt adapter, that's the first time I see one of those. Wow. Is it really an ASUS? Looks like an ASUS, really, seriously, it looks like an ASUS. All right, so it looks like an ASUS, feels like an ASUS, and it doesn't work the way how my adapter works. Let me show you my. Let's see. So here's my 45 watt adapter, you see? 45 watt adapter, which is bigger than 65 watt adapter. Lenovo should run at 20 volts, 2.25 amps maximum. It should run it. You know what, how about I'm gonna try a more powerful power supply, 90 watt power supply. I'll bring it over and see if we're gonna run with 90 watt power supply. Will it give more amps into the laptop or not? All right, let's bring in 90 watt power supply. Oh, wait, where did it go? Okay. So we're still charging. Let's bring in 90 watt power supply. This is marked as up, this is down. Let's try the up side first. It keeps at 1 amp. 19 volts, 1 amp. Strange. How powerful is this thing? This is 65 watt. This is 65 Lenovo adapter, which is kind of brand new, but it runs at half an amp. You know, let's disconnect light here. Yeah, let me position my 45 watt adapter into another spot and see what we get on the other spot. All right, so let's see, maybe the battery got charged up a bit more. No, we get 2 amps right away. We get 20 volts and 2 amps right away on 45 watt Lenovo adapter. But on this guy, let's flip it over. Let's see maybe what we're gonna get. Are we getting just 0. Here, let me show you what we get here. We get half an amp. All right. All right. Let's try the other one. Here. You see 2 amps right away, 20.5 volts, 2 amps. So the reflowing part was unnecessary. All right. Reflowing part was unnecessary. It's all dependent on the power supply. Now 90 watt is not made for the system, I assume. Let me see. What does it require? It requires a 65 watt adapter, which I don't have, right? This is 90 adapter. Let's see. Oh, this is the 65 watt adapter. All right, now let's see what we get on the other connection. We get 2 amps on the other connection. And we don't get a high pitch sound on here. Nope, we don't get, so it was all dependent on the power supply. And the battery charges fine on this adapter here. All right, so both ports are working fine. So I did a good job on both ports twice. All right. My mistake was I was using the client's power supply, which looked ideal, which is not doing something right. Okay. Both connectors replaced. Both connectors are flowing 2 amps into the laptop. And yeah, I will wait for it. Oh, well, let's see if I flip it over. Let's see if I flip it over. Will it charge on the flip over side? Yeah, 2 amps. 2 amps into any connector. 2 amps into every connector, right? So the thing is, the good thing I made the video so that the client, when he's gonna be watching this video, he could simply order this particular power supply. Let me show you here. This is the power supply that's connected right now. Here, let me show you that it is connected. I'm not trying to tell the power supplies, guys. So this is the power supply that's connected right now, which was showing 20 volts right here, 45 watt Lenovo. Let me, I guess, bring it to closer picture, closer up. ADLX 45UCCU2A. 2A, so 2.25 watts maximum it can do. All right, good job. Good job. I'm happy to report that both ports are working fine, and it was unnecessary for me to reball anything. And that's the reason I'm telling you it's really complicated to work on those thermal paste on the white shirt. Wonderful. Wonderful. I just... All right. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, and you guys take care and have a good day. Thanks. Bye.